Hello and welcome back to UPress Plays Sports, a sports show produced by FAU Student Media. I'm Maddox Greenberg, joined alongside me is Bruinsma. We have a special guest in today. Would you mind introducing yourself over to the audience?
Sure, I'm LeAnn Freeland, the new head women's basketball coach here at FAU.
Mm-hmm. And we were kind of talking about a little bit, but how's the transition been so far, getting used to life at FAU for you?
It's been really interesting, right? So I took the job about 3.5 weeks ago.
Yeah.
And everyone at FAU has been so welcoming, so that's been helpful. It's just to learn a new processes and learn a new institution takes some time, but our players have been great and recruiting has been a lot of fun, so we're hitting the ground running for sure.
And it's definitely, I mean, it's such a beautiful university, you know, I feel like they kind of have the slogan, it's paradise here, but what kind of first propelled you along your basketball journey?
So, you want to go way back when I was a child?
Yeah, we can start way back. When did you first start playing?
Well, I started playing when I was in the 3rd grade, so I was always really competitive, but basketball, I got a basketball in my hands around the 3rd grade, and I'm from a really small town in southern Illinois, so I had to play with the boys a lot. So I grew up playing on the playgrounds and everything with the boys, and then had a chance to join my school team when I was in the 3rd grade, actually. So I was playing with 8th grade girls when I was in the 3rd grade. Oh. So I'm from a real rural community. So good thing I was big for my age, but I had an opportunity to really get competitive at a young age and be thrown into the mix with a lot older girls as well as boys. So, but I've been playing for a long time. And then out of college, I thought I was gonna be a teacher. So I was a teacher for 1 year, but then this is so fascinating. But the head coach I played for, Chancellor Dugan, she actually took the job at Florida Atlantic University.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I know. 2 years after I was done playing, she became the head coach. So the assistant coach that I played for became the head coach and asked me to become his assistant. So had Chance Dugan not taken the job at FAU, maybe I'm still a teacher in Indiana. You never know.
Yeah. That's so, I mean, it's crazy that you had that tie where she left to come to FAU, and then that's really what helped jumpstart your journey just as a college head coach.
Yeah, really interesting.
Yeah.
So I was an assistant coach for 4 years at Southern Indiana. Then I was an assistant coach for 4 years at Florida Gulf Coast University, became a head coach at University of Indianapolis for 4 years, and then I was at Nova Southeastern University for 14 years. So just starting my journey here at FAU.
Yeah.
And so, speaking of Nova, so what have you learned during your time there at Nova that you'll take into account in your first year at Florida Atlantic?
I would say just the type of high-level recruits you can recruit to South Florida. There's definitely a draw to be in South Florida. So we have a little bit different sell than like my time in the Midwest. So we're selling a whole package. We're selling great basketball, great academics, and the sun, and the palm trees, and the beach.
Yeah.
So that matters.
And so when college coaches go to another school, typically like players or coaches also follow them. So do you have anyone joining you from Nova to Florida Atlantic?
Yeah, my 2 assistant coaches, they were players for me at Nova Southeastern. So McKenna Peters, she played for me for 1 year after transferring. It's a grad transfer from Youngstown State. And then she's been on staff for 3 years with me at Nova Southeastern. Allison Hughes, kind of a similar story. She transferred to us at Nova Southeastern from another Division II and played for me for 2 years at Nova Southeastern, and it, again, has been on staff for 3 years in SU.
Yeah.
So those 2 are going to be joining me on staff. Yeah.
But no one from like the playing landscape so far?
Not so far.
Okay.
I mean, you just never know. We keep, you know, we're keeping everything open right now, but you know, we kind of want everybody to get settled where they're at.
Yeah.
Good question.
That's understandable. And I mean, it's good that you do kind of have the appeal of the South Florida landscape compared to, I can imagine it was a lot different trying to get girls to come to the Midwest. But you kind of touched on your time as like an athlete for a little bit, but when you're at Southern Indiana, I mean, you racked up, you know, such a career high. You're still, I believe, their leading top scorer. How do you feel like your time as a college player has helped you transition into coaching and help lead these young women?
That's a great question. I think just remembering, although it's been a while now, but just remembering all the pressure that comes with that and understanding that they even have a different type of pressure now because of social media. I think it's a different world.
Yeah.
But I know we all have our experience as a player. I was very fortunate to be very successful and had a great coach who helped develop us. But to remember that they have other things in their life too. They have a family, they have the social life, and to try to help them keep the balance at the mid-major level is going to be important because we want them mentally fresh as well as physically fresh so we can perform.
And so going from Division II to Division I is like quite a jump to get to, particularly when you're a head coach. So in your first season, what would you define as success?
That's a great question. I think I've always defined success as getting better and growing, right? So even our best teams, I never said, oh, we need to win a championship to be successful. It was more like, what can we do as a program with the team that's in front of us? How can we maximize our potential? And you know, the first year I think is going to be interesting because we're learning a new conference, we're learning this new level, and I don't ever want to set the bar too low.
Yeah.
Or set it too high and people feel like failures. So it's more about growth. So we'll be setting some realistic and attainable goals along the way to feel like we're making progress. But you never know. Like I've been pretty successful wherever I've gone, and I think I picked the right jobs.
Yeah.
So, you know, we just got to make sure we find the roster that believes the same.
And are you able to kind of reveal like any of those specific plans that you have, like what you kind of envision for FAU's program, like let's say in the next 5 years?
Sure. So, number one, our style of play.
Yeah.
You know, we want to be really fast and aggressive. We've always done that. And so we need to make sure we're finding players who have that type of style. So we want fast, we want aggressive, and fearless.
Okay.
So hopefully that's what you see on the court this year. And in the half-court offense, we're primarily motion, like a true 4-out, 1-in motion or a 5-out motion, depending on personnel. It's very much about sharing the ball and maximizing, again, that potential that I talked about. So defensively, we're primarily man-to-man. And again, it's all about growth. And with the transfer portal the way it is now, we're probably going to see different rosters year to year. I've said that for a couple of years now. Even at the Division II level, we have to be open to recruiting every single year and kind of restocking the pantry, so to speak, to make sure that we have the players that we need.
Yeah.
So it's hard to say what we're going to look like in 5 years. I mean, we're very optimistic about turning the program around, but it's going to take a lot of work and a little luck along the way with recruits.
Yeah.
And as you mentioned about the roster and recruits, currently there are 4 players on the roster right now for Florida Atlantic. So you kind of touch on this a little bit, but what type of players do you want to bring to the program?
Sure. Well, we technically have 5 who signed, and I got another commitment this morning, so we have 6. So
awesome.
yeah, so we're building. Well, we're very selective. So we want not just great players, we want really good people who want to be on a team, a true team, and to be selfless, right? So that takes a lot of time. Unfortunately, in the transfer portal, you don't have a great amount of time. So you have to check references to make sure that the players or the coaches they played for in the past have like a good review.
Yeah.
But it really matters, right? That good person, great player. And we like really skilled players. We like players. I will go with a 5'8", really aggressive player than a 6'5", slower player. Size, I don't think matters. I think heart matters. I think toughness matters. And players who are hungry and want to be something special. And I think that's what I learned, back to your question, back as a player myself. I was always kind of undersized. I was tall, but I was skinny.
Yeah.
But I was tough and I wanted to be good. And so we look for that in players. We want to see, you know, even if someone's undersized, are they competing? You know, so that's what we're looking for.
Yeah, I think that's so important that you guys are looking for that, because it tells a lot. Just you can develop a player that wants to work for it and wants to push. Even, you know, just height in basketball, it's important, but I think what you touched on, the heart, is the most important aspect. Now, when it comes to kind of the NIT and that kind of realm, Have you noticed any challenges with bringing players to kind of a smaller program like FAU's?
Well, I don't really think it is. Are you talking about the NIL?
Yes.
Or
yes,
I was
sorry.
like, I'm talking about the tournament. No, you're fine. But
yes,
the NIL.
The NIL.
It is a different landscape,
Mm-hmm.
and it's a landscape I really didn't know, and we learned pretty quickly that players that we would have 100% signed 2 years ago, now they're getting offers 6 figures and higher.
Mm-hmm.
So it matters, right? Money talks, and I understand that. So we're still going after the high-level players, and I do believe that we will land some along the way, but it's different now, and you have to respect someone who has the opportunity to make 6 figures, and if we don't have that kind of money at this time, like, we may not be in the mix for some of those players, but that's where I feel that our style of play will enable us to still find a way to win, even if we don't have like the marquee players.
Yeah.
However, I do feel like that we have a couple like Aaron Rodgers and TT Jenks who are returning that can be those type of players immediately for us.
And lastly, so at Nova, over your 14 years, 247 wins, 124 losses, 19-11 in the NCAA tournament, 5 SSC regular season titles, 3 Elite Eights, 1 Final Four. I mean, the resume speaks for itself. What is your championship philosophy?
Again, it's all about surrounding yourself with the right people. I really 100% believe that. I think, number one, it started with our staff, making sure that I was bringing in coaches that shared the vision and I could trust. That means everything. And then, again, it's all about the players and making sure that the vision that our staff has is a shared vision with our players, and also making sure that the players really feel like a part of the process. And again, it goes back to making sure you find players who are dreamers, who see themselves in pressure situations and winning championships, because it's really hard to get a player to believe if they don't believe.
Yeah.
It causes a disconnect with the coaches and the players, but so far we're landing players who are thinking big and want to turn FAU around. So we're really excited. Like I said, we have 6 right now. We have 3 returning, 2 who've actually signed, and then 1 verbal commitment this morning.
Okay.
So in a minute, we're going to have a full squad.
Yeah.
So we're excited.
Yeah, it's definitely, it's happening.
It's happening. It is happening. We just have to sift through that NIL situation right now.
Yeah, but I think that was everything that we had for you today.
I think so. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you so much.
So you can find, I guess we'll do one last time, our socials thing. So
one last time.
Yeah, so signing off, you can find me on Instagram at MaddoxBlade04 and on Instagram at Maddox Greenberg.
And you can find me on Instagram at Megan_Bruinsma and Twitter Megan Bruinsma.
And Coach, where could they find you?
Oh, I don't really have that much social media. Jonathan and I are working on that.
You guys can find her on FAU Athletics, their staff profiles.
Thank you all so much for watching, and we'll see you all next semester. Signing off. Peace.
Peace. Okay.